The news hit like a thunderclap over the Bay Area sky, spreading faster than a Steph Curry transition three. James Harden, the Beard himself, rumored to have been signed by the Golden State Warriors. At first, nobody knew what to think. Was it real? Was it another wild rumor born from social media madness? But within hours, the whispers grew into a roar, and every corner of Dub Nation was alive with a mix of disbelief, excitement, and pure adrenaline. For years, Harden had been the ultimate antagonist, the man who stood in the way of Golden State's dynasty, the scorer who could cook defenders with that signature step-back. To imagine him wearing blue and gold felt almost unreal, like the basketball gods had decided to script one final twist in the saga of this era. Fans began flooding X, Instagram, and every Warriors forum known to mankind. Memes appeared instantly, Harden shaking hands with Curry, Draymond yelling in approval, Kerr smiling like he'd just drawn up the perfect play. No matter where you looked, the conversation was the same. Could this really happen? Could James Harden actually become a Warrior? The thought sent shivers down spines. The Beard, once a rival, now a brother-in-arms under the flashing lights of Chase Center. It was the kind of storyline Hollywood would reject for being too unbelievable, yet here it was, floating through the digital waves of the NBA world. Every Warriors fan who remembered those fierce playoff battles against Houston could feel the irony seeping through. Harden, who once tried to end Golden State's reign, could now be the one helping it rise again. And that, in itself, was poetic. Because basketball, like life, loves its full-circle moments. Suddenly, sports radio shows couldn't stop talking about it. Former players weighed in. Analysts argued on national TV, debating whether Harden's style could mesh with the free-flowing motion offense that Steve Kerr had built into a modern masterpiece. Some said it was a mistake. Others said it was genius. But for fans, logic didn't matter. What mattered was the dream, the vision of Curry and Harden sharing a court, orchestrating chaos together, rewriting what offense could look like in 2026. Picture it, Curry running off screens, gravity bending the defense, while Harden manipulates space at the top of the key, eyeing every opening, waiting for that perfect pass or that brutal step-back dagger. The crowd would explode before the ball even touched the net. Those who doubted began to imagine the possibilities. Harden's playmaking feeding Klay on the wing. His drives drawing two defenders, leaving Draymond free to finish at the rim. A 5-out offense of pure terror. It sounded too good to be true, but the more people imagined it, the more real it began to feel. Inside Chase Center, you could almost sense the buzz. The staff, the players, even the media who cover the team daily, everyone spoke in hushed tones, exchanging glances that said, something big is happening. And if it truly was happening, it meant that Golden State was going all in once again. The dynasty wasn't dead. It was just reloading. For Harden, it would be redemption. For the Warriors, it would be reinvention. Because while some believed the window had closed after the last playoff exit, others knew that as long as Curry was breathing and shooting, the window was never really shut. Adding Harden would be a bold statement to the league. Golden State isn't done. The kingdom still stands. Rumors swirled that Draymond Green had already reached out privately, welcoming Harden to the Brotherhood. Klay, ever the competitor, was said to be intrigued. Curry. He reportedly smiled and said, "Let's hoop." That's all anyone needed to hear. Warriors fans began to dream again, not of rebuilding, but of reclaiming. Of banners and confetti. Of the dynasty reborn in a new form, powered by one of the greatest scorers of all time joining the most unselfish system the league has ever seen. In San Francisco, the bars were electric that night. People wore their Curry jerseys but spoke of Harden with cautious hope. There was skepticism, of course. Could Harden sacrifice his ball-dominant style to fit within Kerr's system? Could he embrace movement, spacing, and trust instead of isolation? But then, fans remembered something. Harden is a basketball savant. He's evolved before. From a sixth man in Oklahoma City, to a superstar in Houston, to a floor general in Philadelphia, Harden has shown that when motivated, he can adapt and transform. And what could be more motivating than the chance to chase a ring alongside Steph Curry? Imagine the practices, Curry and Harden trading step-backs, laughing, competing, pushing each other to be better. Imagine the locker room after a comeback win, the two legends sharing a look that says, "We're not done yet." It's the kind of story that turns skeptics into believers. Reporters close to the team started piecing together timelines. Apparently, contact between Harden's camp and the Warriors had been ongoing for weeks, hidden beneath layers of negotiations and secrecy. When one source hinted that talks have advanced, the internet went into meltdown. Within minutes, Harden to the Warriors was trending worldwide. Old highlights resurfaced. Fans rewatched the duels between Harden and Curry, this time with a new lens, not as enemies, but as future teammates. Every crossover, every three-pointer, every celebration carried a new kind of weight. What if all those battles were leading to this moment? And if it truly was destiny, then Dub Nation was ready to embrace it. The organization has always thrived on chemistry, but it's also never feared risk. Signing Kevin Durant in 2016 was bold. Signing Harden now? It would be revolutionary. Because this wouldn't just be about talent. It would be about rewriting narratives, Harden finally shaking off the label of a postseason disappointment, and the Warriors proving they can evolve again and again. Some fans remembered how many people doubted the Durant move, too, until it produced championships. Maybe this was the same kind of gamble, the kind that could end with Harden holding the Larry O'Brien trophy under golden confetti. Analysts started breaking down film, imagining how Kerr might deploy him. Harden in the second unit as the primary creator. Harden running pick-and-rolls with Kuminga. Harden finding Moody in the corner. It all made too much sense. The idea wasn't about replacing anyone, it was about expanding the possibilities. And with Chris Paul gone, that veteran playmaking void had to be filled. Harden fit the description perfectly: experienced, crafty, dangerous, and still capable of dropping 40 on any given night. Whispers turned into reports. Reports turned into leaks. By the time Bay Area journalists began hinting at an imminent announcement, the fanbase had reached a fever pitch. Every phone buzz made hearts race. Every tweet was dissected like a sacred text. Then came the image, blurry, unverified, but enough to set the internet on fire. James Harden, allegedly boarding a plane bound for San Francisco. No caption. Just chaos. The replies exploded. Fans screamed, "It's happening!" Others begged for confirmation. It didn't matter if it was real yet, hope had already taken hold. Inside every fan, there was a spark reignited, that wild, irrational, beautiful hope that defined sports. Because if the Beard really was coming to Golden State, it meant something monumental. The Warriors were ready to make one more run at glory. The dynasty had evolved into a revolution. Even those who doubted Harden's fit couldn't resist imagining the fireworks. A Warriors offense with two of the greatest scorers of the modern era? It sounded like basketball nirvana. And beyond the tactics and numbers, there was the emotion, the sheer symbolism of rivals uniting for one purpose: to win. In many ways, it represented what made the Warriors' culture so powerful. Forgiveness, adaptation, unity. Steve Kerr's leadership has always been about harmony, about finding the beauty in contrast. And Harden, with all his complexity, could be the next masterpiece. Imagine him coming off a stagger screen, faking right, stepping left, and drilling a three while the crowd at Chase Center erupts into madness. Imagine the Beard lifting his arms to the sky as the roar of the Bay crashes down upon him. For a franchise built on spectacle, this would be its grandest encore. Harden to the Warriors wouldn't just be a signing. It would be a statement to every critic who ever said the dynasty was over. It would be proof that Golden State doesn't fade quietly. It reloads, it reinvents, it rises. Every fan who once hated Harden would have to wrestle with new feelings: admiration, curiosity, even love. And maybe that's the beauty of it. The game moves on. Enemies become allies. Legends unite. The possibility of Harden in blue and gold has already done what few things could. It's united the fanbase in wild anticipation. Nobody knows if the rumor will become reality. But for now, the dream is enough. Because sometimes, the rumors we live through are more thrilling than the confirmations we get. And in those moments of waiting, of imagining, of believing, we find the soul of the sport itself. So tonight, as the lights of Chase Center glow against the Bay, one thought echoes through every corner of Dub Nation. What if the Beard really joins the Splash Brothers? If he does, history will never be the same. And somewhere, deep inside, every Warriors fan knows, the dynasty might just be about to burn brighter than ever before. And yet, the story doesn't end there. because every hour that passes seems to add a new twist to this already unreal rumor. Reports from insiders began suggesting that Harden's representatives had scheduled meetings with Golden State's front office, fueling speculation that this was more than just smoke. Fans outside Chase Center started camping with homemade signs, cameras ready, waiting for a glimpse of the Beard stepping into his new kingdom. The Bay Area air buzzed with that unmistakable electricity that only comes when something monumental is about to happen. In those tense hours of waiting, everyone became an investigator. Flight trackers were monitored, social media posts were analyzed frame by frame, and even the most skeptical voices began to tremble with doubt, because every clue seemed to point to one conclusion: Harden was coming. The Warriors organization, usually so secretive, didn't deny anything. They stayed silent, and silence in this business often means that something real is unfolding behind closed doors. The kind of silence that hides a storm ready to explode. Meanwhile, Curry continued his quiet workouts, as calm as ever, like a king who knows the crown isn't slipping but merely evolving. He's shared courts with legends before, but the thought of sharing it with Harden, one of the most creative scorers of his generation, carried an energy unlike anything seen before. The possibilities multiplied in every fan's mind. Curry and Harden running two-man games, switching roles seamlessly, defenders frozen between two different dimensions of basketball brilliance. And what about the culture? The question that always hangs over every new arrival in Golden State. But those who know Harden best have said one thing: when he feels respected, he gives everything. And with Curry's humility, Clay's loyalty, and Kerr's open-minded system, respect is practically woven into the DNA of the team. Harden wouldn't just be accepted, he'd be embraced. Because Dub Nation loves redemption stories, and this would be the biggest one yet. The streets of San Francisco began to whisper louder. Local shops started selling mock-up jerseys with Harden 13 Warriors printed on them, and fans lined up to grab them before they were even official. Commentators on ESPN joked that the Bay Area had already made up its mind. Harden was one of theirs, whether the paperwork said it or not. The hype wasn't manufactured. It was organic. It was emotional. It was the pure magic of belief that only sports can generate. In online spaces, old debates reignited. Some fans reminisced about those unforgettable Rockets versus Warriors duels, the nights of tension, drama, and iconic plays. Others said that those very battles made this possible, that deep respect had grown from rivalry. Harden, after all, had tasted defeat against the dynasty, and now he could finally help write a new chapter within it. In a way, it felt like fate inviting him home. And through all the excitement, a question quietly lingered in the hearts of many: why now? Why would Harden choose this moment, this team, this stage? The answer, perhaps, was simpler than people realized: legacy. Harden has accomplished everything individually. MVPs, scoring titles, assists, crowns. The only thing missing? A championship ring. And where better to chase that final jewel than in the Bay, alongside a core that's made winning look like art for nearly a decade? If the deal truly materializes, the Warriors wouldn't just be signing a player, they'd be adding an artist to an orchestra. Harden's rhythm, Curry's melody, Draymond's percussion, together, it would be jazz on hardwood, the purest form of creative chaos the NBA has ever seen. The system wouldn't break, it would evolve, absorbing Harden's tempo and blending it with Golden State's symphony. As the rumor evolved into near certainty, even rival fanbases couldn't look away. Lakers fans groaned, Suns fans tweeted in disbelief, and Clippers fans wondered if the league was about to tilt again. Because everyone knows, when the Warriors move, the NBA shakes. And this move, if confirmed, could alter everything from standings to strategies. Harden to the Warriors wouldn't just be a signing, it would be a seismic event. And so, Dub Nation waits, hearts pounding, timelines refreshing, dreams dancing in blue and gold. Because whether it's confirmed tonight or tomorrow, the feeling is undeniable. Something monumental is brewing in the Bay. The lights are brighter, the whispers louder, and the legend of the Golden State Warriors is preparing to add one more name, one more twist, one more unforgettable chapter, with the Beard leading the next charge toward basketball immortality. Before we dive into the next update, help us keep the Warriors' spirit alive by subscribing to the channel and smashing that like button. Stay connected with all the latest Golden State Warriors news. Now, let's get into it.